Giving your child up for adoption is obviously a difficult decision for people to make, and choosing to adopt a child is also a difficult decision. But maybe this book right here, Adopting Hope, will help answer some of those questions you may have.
Author Lorri Antosz Benson, she's with us this morning to talk about her experience with adoption and to give us her insight into this process. Great to have you here. This is a series of books.
Yes.
Why did you write this?
Well, the first book, To Have and Not to Hold, was my memoir because I was a birth mother. I placed my child for adoption while I was working with Phil Donahue in Chicago, and it was a terrible time in my life, but as things went on, I just felt like it could be a very inspirational story. My daughter's adoptive mother did everything right, and I felt like, boy, people could really learn from this. And instead of all the negativity you hear a lot about adoption, I wanted to bring a positive mention. So that was To Have and Not to Hold. And then my publisher wanted to do something that would be more expansive, you know, maybe more informative. And it just sort of developed. In fact, I was on your show, and I put out a call to people that might have stories to tell, and I did get some people that are in Adopting Hope from that.
That's what did you learn? What did you learn from our viewers?
Oh my gosh, there's just it turned into just a treasure trove of information. What works, what doesn't work. I think my main takeaway was for adoptive parents to tell your children from birth, from the minute you get them, have it be part of their narrative and not something you spring on them at 7 years old or at this isn't an ancient thing. It still goes on where people don't tell the child for a while. And from what I learned from all the contributors, that rarely works out for the best.
Yeah, and you have a great relationship with your daughter, who you met at 16, you said?
At 16, she came back into our lives. And
Did she reach out to you?
She reached out to me, and that's like I think a tip for birth parents. I waited. I let her lead. You know, let your child lead. Don't you be the one acting out of a need that you have. It has to be out of love, and let the child decide if this is right for him or her.
What are some no-nos or some things and some missteps that adoptive parents often take?
Well, I think one is being secretive. One is also being fearful. I think it's natural when you think about you're raising this child and this is your family, to bring in an outsider. It's natural to feel fear, but it's also so natural for the child to have this need to know.
Right.
And rather than come at it from fear, what's going to happen, come at it again from love, from a point of love, and then everybody benefits.
You know, it sounded like initially you wrote this book almost for yourself and some sort of a healing mechanism, but now it's turned into a guide to help others on both sides of the fence. What would you tell those who are considering adoption? There's I'm sure a lot of misnomers about that.
Well, that was one thing that this book turned into that I didn't realize is, a lot of times when you're going through the adoptive process, you feel alone. You feel scared. Is this right for me? There's so many words of wisdom that came from this, from people who explained how they processed, what they did in that long waiting period. And I would just say that you have to be patient is a huge thing. And while you're waiting, do things actively. Look for schools in your neighborhood. Look for other adoptive support groups or something like. There's things that you can do. And these adoptive parents that contributed. The book has adoptive parents, birth parents, and adoptees contributing.
Wow.
Great.
So
and
you get a full look.
With so many kids we have in our system, boy,
Absolutely.
we want to get them adopted.
Absolutely.
So this could be a great guide. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So much. Thanks for sharing your story and being so candid and transparent. It's a discussion that needs to happen early. So thank you for that. We've put much more information on our website, sonoranliving.com.